בראשית פעלה אם אף השמיים ואף הארץ ואף הארץ בראשית פעלה אם אף השמיים ואף הארץ ואף הארץ. Where do I begin? How do I even try? How can anyone start to describe the beauty in your eyes? I can't even see everything that you see, and I'm in awe every time. There's not a flaw in your design. בראשית פעלה אם אף השמיים ואף הארץ ואף הארץ בראשית פעלה אם אף השמיים ואף הארץ ואף הארץ בראשית פעלה אם אף השמיים ואף
Hana, Ya'oh bokak ha'aratz, wabolak ha, waro paneha, wahapetz Yashai-Ya'oh, wahe charam cha-chan, cha-rabad cha-adaneo, cha-shapacha cha-gabaratha, cha-kona cha-muchar, cha-malo cha-lo, cha-nasha cha-ashar nashbo, habok tabok ha'aratz, wahabos tabos che-Ya'oh dabar ath hadabar hazah, Abala nabala ha'aratz, amalala nabala thabal, amalalo marom ram ha'aratz, wa ha'aratz chanapa tachat Yashai-Ya'oh, che rabaro torath, chalapo chak haparo barith cholam, rochan, ala achala aratz, wa ya'ashamo Yashai-Ya'oh, rochan charo Yashai-Ya'oh aratz, wa nasha'ar anosh mazayar, abal therosh, Amalala gapan, na anacho chasam achelab, Shabbat mashosh thapem, Chadal she'on ralezem, Shabbat mashosh chanor, Basher la yashatoyen, Yamar shachar lashtateo, na shabara karithao, Sagar chal beth mabo, Tzocha ra hayen bachotzoth, Charaba chal shamacha, Gala mashosh ha'aratz, na sha'ar bagher shama, Washa'eh ya'achat shaya, Checha ya'e bakarab ha'aratz, Batoch ha'ramem, Chanakapzef, Chagolalath am chala batzer, Hama Yashai-Ya'oh kol am, Yaranu baga'on Ya'oh, Tzalo mayam, Rochan, Ba'orem chabado Ya'oh, Ba'e'e hayam, Sham Ya'oh, Ala'e Ya'oh sha'a, Machanat ha'aratz, Zamaroth shamayno, Tzabeh la tzedek, Wa amar, Razele, Oele, Bagadem bagado, Wabagad bagadem bagado, Pachad wapachath wapach chalecha yoshab ha'aratz, Wahe, Hanas makol apachad, Yapal ha'apachath, Waharola matoch apachad, Yalachad bapach, Che araboth mamarom na pathacho, wa yaraisho mosadei aratz. Rai hatha rai ha'aratz. Porar hatha porara aratz. Mot hatha motata aratz. No'ai tha no'ai aratz chashachor hatha nodada chamalona wa chabad galeha. Pashaiha wa napala wa lata sepkom. Wa he bayom haho yapakad Ya'oh gal tzab hamarom bamarom. Wagal malachi ha'adama gal ha'adama. Wa asapo asapa aser gal bor. Wa sagaro gal masgar. Wa marab yamem ya pakado. Wa chapara halabana. Wa bosha hachama. Che malach Ya'oh tzabaoth bahar tseon. Wa ba Yerushalayim. Wa nagad zakaneo chabod. I just read Yashai-Ya'oh, aka Isaiah chapter 24, the entire chapter. If you understand what this prophet is saying in this chapter, you should be concerned. You should be very concerned if you are not taking the appropriate action in response. Verse 1, Behold, Ya'oh is the one emptying the earth, and who makes it waste, and who overturns the face of it, and who scatters the inhabitants of it. This is literal. This is what the Creator, whose name is Ya'oh, intends to do to the earth in the near future. He intends to empty the earth of its people by drastically reducing the human population through a series of unparalleled, catastrophic natural disasters. Anyone telling you this prophecy has already happened has not only lost their mind, but has lost all touch with reality. Verse 2, And it will be as the people as the priest, as the servant as his lord, as the servant girl as her mistress, as the buyer as the seller, as the one who lends as the one who borrows, as the taker of usury as the one who bears to him. This is also literal. It won't matter where your station is in life, or what you do for a living, or how rich you are, or how poor you are. Everyone is going to be affected in the same way. No one will be excluded from the destruction that is coming upon the earth, with the exception of one group of people who are mentioned later in the chapter. Verse 3, Utterly emptied is the earth, and utterly spoiled, because Ya'oh has spoken this word. There is no easy way to put this. The Creator is putting the world on notice that its time is running out, and he intends to kill off the majority of the human population. That is what he is determined to do, according to this prophet. Verse 4, Mourning, fading away is the earth, growing feeble, fading away is the world. They grow feeble, the high nation of the earth. Again, this is literal. The earth is going to mourn as millions upon millions die horrific deaths. The world will fade away as we know it and become feeble. The high nation of the earth is referring to the strongest nation in the world, the strongest nation ever to exist on earth in human history. And that, of course, is none other than the United States of America. Make no mistake, it is being threatened in this verse by this prophet. Verse 5, And the earth is polluted beneath the inhabitants of it, for they have transgressed the laws, they have changed the statute, they have violated the everlasting covenant. The inhabitants of the earth have polluted the earth by breaking the laws that were given by the Creator in the aftermath of the flood. These laws can be found in the 9th chapter of the book of Genesis, and they have been violated since the flood, which was 4,996 years ago. Verse 6, Therefore a curse devours the earth, and desolate are they that dwell in it. Therefore burned are the inhabitants of the earth, and there is left few men. Because of the violation of the old covenant made after the flood, the earth will be destroyed, not by a worldwide flood, but by the curse of worldwide natural disasters targeting human population centers. There will only be a few who survive. Verses 7 through 9. Mourning is the new wine, growing feeble is the vine. They do sigh, all the merry of heart. Ceased has the drums of joy, ended has the noise of the ones who rejoice. Ceased has the joy of the stringed instrument. By song not will they drink wine. It will be bitter, the strong drink to them drinking it. This is the end of happy hour. No more parties, no more dancing, no more singing, no more NBA finals, no more Super Bowl, no more World Cup, no more sold out music concerts, no more entertainment of any kind whatsoever. What's left of the world will be too busy trying to stay alive in a post-apocalyptic age. Verse 10. It has been broken, the city of flatness. It has been shut up, every house from entering in. The Yashai-Ya'oh, city of flatness, is yet another reference to the United States of America. The capital is indeed mostly flat, and it is doomed for destruction. It will be broken. And when that happens, as you can imagine, a state of emergency will immediately ensue, and in the chaos, everyone will shut themselves up in their homes for fear of home invasion and mob vandalism. Verses 11 and 12. A mournful outcry for wine is in the streets. Darkened is all happiness. Gone is the joy of the earth. There is left in the city desolation. and in violent ruin will the gate be smitten. The cataclysmic fall of America will rock the world. The mournful outcry for wine in the streets will be how people attempt to cope with the disaster. But even access to drugs and alcohol will be limited. All happiness will be darkened. The joy of the earth will be gone. In the city, meaning the world's most important city, there will only be desolation and a violent ruin of the capital's main entrance. Verse 13. For thus it will be in the midst of the earth, among the nations, when there is the shaking of the olive tree, when there is the gleaning of grapes, when the vintage is finished. Verse 13 is telling you when you can expect all of these things to begin happening. The fall of America and the catastrophes that destroy the world and drastically reduce humanity to only a few men will happen when there is the shaking of the olive tree and the gleaning of grapes. This is a harvesting of people. Olives and grapes symbolize a people who will be gathered and extracted from out of the nations so that they may be preserved. This is the second exodus of the remnant to the wilderness, and it is happening now. When the gathering of this vintage is finished, and these people have been brought to a place of safety in the world, that is when all hell will break loose. The world will mourn, but not these people. Verses 14 and 15. They shall lift up their voice. They will sing in the majesty of Ya'oh. They will cry aloud from the sea. Therefore, in the lights of the east region, glorify Ya'oh. In the islands of the sea, the name Ya'oh, the higher power of Yashai-Ya'oh. These two verses tell you where these olives and grapes will be going in their exodus. They are going to a group of islands of the sea located in the Far East, to a place where the name Ya'oh is being proclaimed by a ravenous bird. And they will lift up their voices there and sing in the majesty of the name Ya'oh. This is literally happening right now as I speak. The people are coming. They have the name Ya'oh on their lips, and they are loud. Verse 16. From the uttermost end of earth songs have we heard, beauty to the righteous. And I said, my leanness, woe to me. The treacherous ones, they have dealt treacherously. Yes, the treacherous ones, they have dealt treacherously. Verse 16 gives another clue as to the whereabouts of the gathering. The islands of the sea in the east are located at the uttermost end of earth. This is the Philippines. This is the location of the second wilderness. And the prophets heard the songs that the remnant gathering here is singing centuries before they were even born. This is something to rejoice about, but the prophet realizes that there is also a sad aspect to all of this. My leanness, he says, woe to me. Leanness is the prophet's way of lamenting the fact that the second Exodus numbers are so small in comparison to the first Exodus. The people are not coming by the hundreds of thousands in a single day. They are coming instead, as the prophet Yashai-Ya'oh, aka Jeremiah, foretold in chapter 3 verse 14, 1 from a city and 2 from a family, which means only a few at a time in the course of the acceptable year of Ya'oh. It is only a remnant that will be saved and not the whole. The prophet puts the blame for this on the treacherous ones who have dealt treacherously. He can only mean the most powerful nation in the world where the bulk of the children of Yahushua live, and that is America. The temptations, the brainwashing, the wealth, the fame, the power, the carnality, the seductiveness of the American dream has gripped the majority of our people, and they will not leave her for any reason. Verses 17 and 18. Terror and the pit and the snare be upon you, inhabitant of the earth. And it will be, the one who flees from the noise of the terror, he will fall into the pit. And the one climbing out from the midst of the pit, he will be taken by the snare. For the windows from on high have been opened, and they will be shaken, the foundations of the earth. How anyone can read this and come away thinking that this is spiritual and not literal, or that it has already happened in some kind of symbolic way, is beyond me. You can get away with this kind of interpretive mumbo-jumbo nonsense if you are only reading an English translation. But from the source language of Ghabare, otherwise called Biblical Hebrew, it is clear that the prophet is being literal. He uses a play on words in verse 17 that is completely lost when translated into another language. He says, Pachat, Pachath, Pach, 3 words sharing the same initial syllable. The redundancy is intended to stress how the prophet absolutely expects terror, the pit, and the snare to happen literally to virtually everyone on earth except for those olives and grapes that are being gathered to the islands of the sea in the far east at the uttermost end of earth. He says the windows from on high will be opened, and the foundations of the earth will be shaken. These are extinction-level events. And the one who created this world is only saving a select remnant of his people by gathering them in the one place where they will be safe from these cataclysms and out of harm's way. Verses 19 and 20. Utterly evil has the earth done evil to itself. Utterly broken has the earth broken itself. Exceedingly tottering has the earth tottered itself. Reeling to and fro will the earth reel like a drunkard, and it will sway back and forth like a hammock. And heavy upon it is the transgression of it, and it will fall and not again rise. Don't let anyone insult your intelligence by telling you that the prophet is speaking figuratively here. He is not. He knows what an earthquake is like, and that is exactly what he is describing here, only he is describing one on a much larger magnitude than any earthquake ever recorded. He is describing a geoquake, a series of earthquakes happening simultaneously worldwide and targeting human populations, excluding the second wilderness in the islands of the sea in the east. It will be as if the earth is turning on itself to commit suicide. The earth will totter and reel to and fro like a drunk man who cannot walk straight. That is a crystal clear image, one that we can all easily visualize being painted by the prophet. Another image given by him is that of a hammock, a bed suspended between 2 trees. The surface of the earth is going to sway back and forth like a hammock does. A catastrophe of this scale will alter the shape of the world and disfigure it permanently, not to mention kill millions of people. The world as we know it will never exist again. The result will be a new heaven and a new earth. Verses 21 and 22. And it will be in that day, Yahweh will visit upon the high one on high, and upon the kings of the land upon the land. And they will be gathered, a gathering, a prisoner in a dugout, and they will be shut up in a prison, and after many days will they be visited. The high one on high is another reference to the government of the world's strongest nation. That high government, what's left of it, along with the kings upon the land, will be so terrified at what is happening to the world, they will retreat into their underground dugout shelters, their doomsday bunkers, in the mountains and in the rocks. They will be gathered into these dugouts like prisoners in a prison, and they will remain shut up in them for many, many days, unable to have any influence or any say in the world. The few who manage to survive the devastating calamities that are coming and make it into these dugouts will be too busy trying to stay alive than risk coming to the surface. The world will be in turmoil and mourning, but the remnant in the second wilderness will be rejoicing. Verse 23, last verse. And the moon will be confounded, and the sun will be put to shame, because Ya'oh of hosts is reigning in Mount Seon and in Jerusalem, and before his elders gloriously. This isn't the only time that a prophet mentions that the sun and the moon will be acting very strangely when Ya'oh rises up to shake the heavens and the earth. In this verse we are told that these 2 luminaries are going to be dimmed during the second wilderness period, because their light must not compete with Ya'oh, who will be reigning over his nation in Mount Seon and in Jerusalem. These two names refer to the remnant nation gathered in the mountains of the second wilderness. They will call their temporary abode Mount Seon and Jerusalem, and they will be blessed to live extraordinarily long lives there. Other scriptures tell us the nation will remain in the wilderness for a time, times and a half, that they will multiply during this period and become an exceedingly great people. Then they will go take possession of the promised land in the Levant, and no one will stand in their way.